Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently fighting Portugal and things are going fairly okay, actually. They haven't brought in all of these yet, so that's, a little exciting. But this war is going to stretch on for a little longer than some of our other wars. We do have these tanks making their way up over here, and we're currently pushing out with our Marines, and I want to push out a little bit more aggressively over here. They're starting to respond to this. And I want to make sure that we have these forces pushing out over here, like so. Okay, we just want to get a good solid toehold here, ideally. So I want to make sure that we are constructing in all of these locations, and I'm actually going to move these down to the bottom of the priority list, and I no longer care about building these. Okay, let's just get rid of these. That's all fine. Rest of that's okay. Cool. So we'll get going on that, and I want to make sure that we are digging in very, very thoroughly out throughout this entire area. So that looks good, and we'll just continue to push up over this way. We do need to get more supplies in position, but we can see that they are definitely starting to respond to this. We've got reinforcements on the way, and they've just called in Telangana. Who is Telangana? Oh, okay, that's these guys. Cool. So that's absolutely fine. We're going to get these guys to come on in over here and get that taken care of. Consider that done. And then we're going to have this army here join in with this army group order. Nope, we're not, actually. Maybe they can start making their way out over here, actually. So we'll get them on their way over, but we need to get our supply flow over here a little bit more up, right? A little bit more completed. So I'd like to start building here, and I'd like to start building here. Now, both of these are in slightly risky locations, and that's understood. I'm going to build railway like that, and we're going to motorize this. There we go. And we're going to motorize this as well. Okay. So we still have work to be done out over this way, that's for sure. But our Marines are working on pushing out over this direction for the moment. Please stop attacking here because you need to defend. Okay, this here is not necessarily ideal. Telangana has capitulated, so this force out over here, they do still have some units out here. We're at war with these guys as well. So that is noted. I'm going to select these guys. I'm going to delete this order. And their new offensive line order is, honestly, all the way down here. Cool. Now, I've got this tank army here as well. Who's this? Yeah, these guys. They're going to also be offensive lining down like that. Okay, so we'll get that going. That's absolutely fine for right now. So that seems good. The real question is, are we going to be able to hold this position? Well, Portuguese Iberia Company just capitulated, so that's neat. Wait. What? I guess they were the faction leader. Oh, I don't like this. I wanted to fight Portugal. But Portuguese Iberia Company was the faction leader. They capitulated, and that took Portugal with. And they never called in Rio de Plata either. Or no, they did. So that's too easy. I don't like that. I was looking forward to a good fight with Portugal. I'm very sad now. Well, I guess there's nothing much to be done about it. I really, really would like to properly have fought them, but it's over. Very sad. They just surrendered. They gave up. Okay. And now I'm sad. Who's going to stop us at this point? That's the question that we need to be asking. And the answer is, honestly, I don't know. It was so awkward that these guys became the war leader instead of Portugal. But to be honest, we set that up by splitting off Portuguese Iberia Company from Portugal back in Victoria 3. So, to a certain extent, it's our own fault. Sure. I was expecting this war to be much more significant than that. I'll be honest. Well, we have some options now. We can work on expansion out over here. We can work on cleaning up Africa. We can continue to clean up in Asia. There's a lot more to be done there. We now have the ability to start working in South America. We even control Panama, by the way. So the Panama Canal is at least partially controlled by us now. So that's neat. And we control the entire Caribbean. So we're not going to have to worry about that. So there's that. But I mean, that was sad. That was sad. Well, let's see what we can see in the faction map mode. Interesting. These guys are part of the Middle Eastern Confederation. We have borders with the entire Middle Eastern Confederation now. We'd have a hard time getting here. But here isn't relevant. We could fight the Middle Eastern Confederation. If we declared on Scandinavia, they're the war leader, and that would be a more significant war, for sure. So that's an option. And then, of course, the question is, what about South America? Can we start pushing up this way so that we have borders here with Britain? Just the fact that we control this down here in South America, this is a very big deal for us going forward with our war with Britain. That is absolutely 100% going to happen. So that's a very big deal indeed. I wouldn't mind knocking France out of the picture, but I feel like Navarra has to go first. So we need to start a justification. I don't think we're justifying on anything right now. So if we started a justification here, I'd like to get that out of the way. 125 days. Hi, Consul. That's fine. I don't mind that. Portuguese Senegal still controls this down over here. Portuguese Senegal was never actually called in. So we can start justifying on them as well. And that'll take 185 days. So that sounds good. And this is all Portuguese Senegal out over here. So that'll get taken care of immediately as soon as that war is declared. Then we can take this army here. And they would man this front. And we could take, like, this army, or even better, this army. And they can also man this front up over here. So something along the lines of that. Okay. Oh, I'm so sad that they surrendered. I'm so sad. Well, I guess it moves things forward, but I was looking to have some fun with that war. They were even pushing us back over here in our landing a little bit, and things were a little dicey with their cavalry position being right here. That was a little dicey. I was a little concerned about that. And then the surrender happened, and I was like, okay. Well, I guess we just win for free. Not a fan, but here we are. So we've got these two infantry divisions. They're going to go into our infantry reserve, obviously. And we're just going to wait this out at this point. So we'll attack Leon next, and that's fine. Then after that, it's going to end up being, I think, a war with Scandinavia. Alternatively, we can start pushing up this direction and fight like a Wenki, so we at least have a way into the United States of Europe holding out over here, so we could fight the United States of Europe. This would be an interesting war for sure. We'd have this front here, we'd have this front here, and we'd have this front out here. We would also have this little exclave. We'd have all of these exclaves over here. We'd have this front here and this front here. So it would be a fairly significant war in terms of the front planning anyway. I bet we'd be able to beat them fairly easily unless, like, Scandinavia decided to help them. But Scandinavia wants to ally us. They don't want to fight us. So there's that. So that's all well and good. They also control Iceland. They control that directly. I don't think we need to worry about it, to be honest. They'll probably capitulate before that happens. I would also like to start thinking about taking over, like, Brazil and South Peru. Maybe not necessarily in that order. Maybe South Peru and then Brazil. Yeah, that's probably something that we want to do fairly soon. We're going to have to start thinking about when we're going to fight Britain, though. And I'm kind of just saving them to be the final boss at this point, and we'll see how that goes. I'm actually not expecting a terrible amount of trouble with them. I think that Ukraine was going to be the toughest war for us. And at this point, I think it's very difficult for them to stop us. It's fine, though. We'll definitely work our way through it, and we've got some work to do, especially down here. There's a lot of little guys down over here, and that's going to take some time. No doubt about that. The real question is, how long is it going to take us to get through this? We've got these awkward exclaves in here, but Bengali Fascist Revolt, I would very much like to take over. That would be a very good thing. Mysore would be good as well. I just want to start working through all of these little guys out over here. But now we have all of this random territory out over this direction that we can work from, and it's both more and less awkward. So there's that. Well, we'll just continue to push through for now, and I mean, attacking France would give us basically full reign over Africa, which would be very good to have this all cleaned up. There's a few locations over here that we would not control, for example, like Breton, Senegal, but that should be easy enough to deal with. They're a colony of Brittany, but Brittany kind of doesn't exist exactly. Not in their correct location, anyway. I think they're a one province somewhere, and we found out where it was before, but I actually forgot. Where is this? Oh. They're Taiwan. Okay, sure. So they're Taiwan, which means that we can actually attack from up here, theoretically, or if we attack Great Britain and Ming, we can attack from over here, which would be easier, but I think we can make our way across 2 sea zones. That's not a big deal. Shouldn't be a problem. We really need to clean up Southeast Asia, though. There's a lot of work that needs to be done over in this way. There are some French holdings out here, and that's definitely noted. That's something that will need to happen. But for right now, I think our plan is we clean up Leon, we clean up Portuguese Senegal. Once those are out of the way, then we can think about a fight against Navarra, which will mean a fight against Scandinavia as well. And once that's done, what else is in the Middle Eastern Confederation? I guess there's these guys down here, which is... Who is this? Greece. That's Greece. Okay. So Greece is in the Middle Eastern Confederation, and then Afghanistan is as well. Out over here, I think. No, this isn't Afghanistan, is it? No. Who is this? Bihari Reactionary Revolt. Yeah, this is way more Indian than Afghani. So that's absolutely fine. We'll push through that with no problem either. This faction is not a big threat, right? Okay, our justification on Castile is now finished. So let's hop up over here. Let's grab these guys. Let's give them an offensive line of just take everything. That'll do. And we're going to launch this attack, and the war's over. They just don't know it yet. Okay, so in we go. They're just a little guy, and that's not a problem. So we'll attack over here. This is over. No problem whatsoever there. So that seems good, and the next step, of course, is Portuguese Senegal, which will be about 60 days away. We should probably start working on our next justification, and I kind of want to work on this. Yes. Okay, so with that underway, I want to grab this tank army group, and they're going to take this position here. I want to grab some infantry that are out over here. We've got these guys. They're going to go here, but then I'm going to grab half of this force, and they're going to come up over here. Like that. Easy peasy. Okay, so we'll get in position to attack Mysore. No problem there. We actually control this down over here. Very convenient. I like it. We control almost all of the islands at this point, by the way, despite having invaded literally none of them. So that's exciting. Very convenient for us, actually. Very, very convenient. That'll speed things up for us pretty dramatically. So, why aren't we attacking here? Any particular reason? Let's just get that taken care of. Okay. Leon has capitulated. No shockers there. We're going to select all and submit demands and confirm and exit. Perfect. So that's now done. These guys don't really need orders over here. I'm not planning on immediately fighting Navarra because I do want to clean up some of these little guys first. I feel like that's a very important thing to do. So we've got Breton Senegal out over here. That's all understood. We've got Mali and Wandala and ZO3 out over here. So those are things that we can definitely work on. We've got Senna down here. We've got South Africa down here. South Africa is not a colonial holding. Senna is not a colonial holding either. South Africa's got these awkward bits, right? But I think they'll capitulate if we just take their capital. That's my guess, anyway. So that's the current theory, and I'm going to get these infantry. If I can select just the 2 infantry, that would be nice. We'll put them into our reserve, and these are going to go into our tank reserve. Cool. So everything looks fine there. We should be ready to attack Portuguese Senegal very, very shortly here. About 25 days. That'll be fine. And then I really do want to work on cleaning up this area. I really do. We've got these guys out over here, which are probably no longer a problem, and we probably should be justifying on them, but as you can see, we don't want to do that right now. We'll wait until Portuguese Senegal is done justifying. So that all looks good for the moment, but we've got a lot of little guys over this way to clean up, and that needs to be our primary focus right now. I want to clean up all of these little guys in Southeast Asia. I don't really want to push out into the islands just yet, but I want to clean up all of this up here as well, and that's going to take some time. After we're done with that, I think the plan is going to be to fight Scandinavia, and then the United States of Europe and France, and that will allow us to basically thoroughly clean up Asia and Africa, and we can start pushing northward this way towards Mexico. Now, Mexico is a colonial state of Britain. So we'd have to fight Britain if we wanted to push up into North America, but that's fine. We plan on doing that eventually. We're going to have to fight them to take Ming over anyway, so that's noted. We've finished our justification of conquering Volta, which I think is this. Yes. So we're going to declare this war, and I want to immediately begin work on our justification on Zabulistan. So we'll get that going. That'll take 325 days. Understood. And I want these guys to head right on up over here. And then I'm going to grab half of them, and they're going to go to the other side. There we go. Up they go. So that's going to take a little while. That's understood. And we should have launched our attacks here. We largely have. Yeah, that looks pretty complete. Still a little bit to be done out over this way, though. I want to attack right here, and they pushed this direction. Hilarious. If we take Deloa, I think they just capitulate. So we'll grab that real quick. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. So we take Zaloa there, and they do indeed capitulate. We'll select all, and submit demands, and confirm an exit. Cool. So that's now done, and things are getting cleaner. No doubt about it. But we're going to be finishing up on our justification on Mysore here in a while. About 120 days. It's going to take some time. And that's just generally what's going to happen here. It's going to take some time to push through all of this and to push through all of this up over here. And there's a little bit down over here I'd like to do and a little bit out over this way that I'd like to do too before we start really fighting the big boys. But we'll get there and we'll do it soon. There's also Bulgaria out over here. Who are they part of? France. Okay. So that'll be part of cleaning up France. There's Streamon out over here as well. They are not anybody. So we might want to take them out. I'll try to remember that. And then there's Transylvania up over here too that we definitely want to take. Austria is an option as well to clean up. And Lithuania. We've just got a lot of options here. And we just need to start justifying on them a little bit at a time. And that's exactly what's going to end up happening here. I was just going to put a cut in here because I was like, it's got to be time, right? And then I looked at the clock and I'm like, there's another 5 minutes? Ugh, we're waiting so much. This is because Portugal gave up. It's all Portugal's fault. It's all Portugal's fault. So we're definitely going to want to wrap up our justification on Mysore fairly soon here. But this is going to be a bit of a slow process. No doubt about it. We can only do 2 justifications at once without it getting hugely inefficient, and that means that it's going to take some time. But again, that's not a bad thing. We're net positive on our world tension, obviously. Our world tension is never going to move off of 100, but we don't really care anymore. Like, at this point, even if everyone decided to fight us, I'm not convinced that they would win. I think they'd maybe give us a good fight. We'd lose some territory early on, for sure. They might be able to push us out of South America, maybe. But, I mean, long term, I doubt they win. And especially not if we're able to consolidate all of these little guys. This is going to put us in a much, much better tactical position to have much more solid front lines, and that's very useful. Right now, there's a lot of border corps, but we're working on it. And we'll get there. I think I am going to go ahead and put a cut in here. It's a couple minutes early, but there's nothing happening, right? I was all prepared for a big war with Portugal, and, well, you saw how that went. Next episode, I will be more prepared for sitting around and not doing very much. That's for sure, because that's what's going to happen here for a little while. It's sad, but that's where we are. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Spock, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.